Hey, Shalom. All praises go to the Most High, Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushua, Ba'ashem, Wakadash. Double honors unto the elder apostles and great millstones for the teachings of the scriptures, among other things. Shalom to the sincere Akim across the world now. I left off last week, I think, with Baruch 2 and Baruch, I think 4. Not sure. But anyway, I'm going to hit a few scriptures before that, before I get back to where I was. Now, this is Jeremiah 28 and Jeremiah 28 and 5, right? Because we in this time, I'm gonna read it and I'm gonna talk about it. Because we in this time right now, right? So Jeremiah 28, 28 and 5. Then the prophet Jeremiah said unto the prophet Hananiah, in the presence of the priests, and in the presence of all the people that stood in the house of Yahweh. Even the prophet Jeremiah said, Amen, or Amen. Right? It was just Amen. Yahweh do so. Yahweh perform thy words which thou hast prophesied, to bring again the vessels of the Lord's house, which was talking about the gold. But in a symbolic way, spiritual way, is also talking about the Jacob descendants. But I have precepts on that, because we are the gold and we are the silver of Yahweh. But in this case, it's talking about the physical golden vessels. You can read about that in the book of 1 Ezra chapter 1. Where, what is it, 1? Let me see. I think it's 4. Let me check first. Yeah. I think it's I can't find it right now. But it's 1 Ezra chapter 1, 2, or 3, or 4. So chapter 1, 2, 3, or 4. One of those two. I'm looking for it right now, actually. Which is Oh, I was looking at second Ezra's, man. What the hell? Yeah. Okay, so yeah. Damn. Nope. Yeah, this is crazy. Still can't find it. Oh, I got it. First Ezra chapter 2, verse 13. Let me read it for you. Now it says here, and this was the number of them, 1,000 golden cups and 1,000 of silver, censers of silver 29, veils of gold 30, and of silver 2,410, and 1,000 other vessels of gold and silver and stuff like that. Yeah, I was looking for that for a long time. I knew it's in second Ezra, first Ezra 2. Yeah, but anyway, first Ezra 2, 13 on down. So that's talking about those vessels that we got from Nebuchadnezzar, because he took them. If you read that chapter, you will see Nebuchadnezzar took them, and he took also the Israelites captive. But in Isaiah 36 and 39, actually chapter 39, then you will see that the Most High caused the poor Israelites to remain in the land, and he gave them land, and the rich Israelites got put up in captivity for the wickedness that they did upon the poor Israelites, upon the poor Jacob descendants. So that's what happened there. Going on, now it says right here. Okay, so Jeremiah 28 and 6. Even the prophet Jeremiah said, Amen, and Yahweh do so. Yahweh performed thy words which thou hast prophesied, to bring again the vessels of the Lord's house, and all that is carried away captive from Babylon into this place. So verse 7, nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ear. So we need to listen to Yahweh Bashem Yahushai and the words that he spoke through his prophets, through his men, right? So it says right here, and in the ears of all the people, verse 8, the prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied against many countries and against great kings of war and of evil and of pestilence. We in that time right now, because because a lot of people are actually prophesying so-called prosperity and all that. These are all false prophets, man. False pastors and false teachers and all that type of stuff. False men of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. Because it says that the angels of Satan, basically the messengers of Satan, shall dress themselves up as holy. Those are the people, for example, of how you call that? Wait. Huh? Oh. Right, so 1 Corinthians, sorry man, 2 Corinthians chapter 11, verse 14. Now it says, and no marvel, for Satan himself is transformed into an angel of light. 15. Therefore it is no great thing if his ministers also be transformed as the ministers of righteousness, whose end shall be according to their works. So they might look like, righteous people and stuff like that. They're going to act like it. Yeah. Well, not that much, but it's them. For example, it's them kiddie porn people up in them churches and stuff like that. Every other week they get accused of touching on children, and then they make it disappear. It's like that Pizzagate thing. All of a sudden, it's a hoax. It's fake. Same thing they did with Jeffrey Epstein. It's the same thing. It's in their DNA by this point, and still you don't have people in an uproar. Why? Because it's the wicked. The wicked are not in trouble as other men. If this was Jake, they're still talking about us eating watermelon and chicken and stuff like that since back in the days where they actually did that thing on purpose. They told the Jacob descendants to eat rapidly the, how you call that thing? If I find the video, I'll post it. They told them to do it, and then they made a video of it, and then they spread that. You know how Esau is, right? He comes in the midst of you. For example, Vice magazine. Vice means vicious. It goes into it's backstabbery, but they come and they do an interview with you, and then when you read the interview, you be like, "What the fuck? This guy, he was acting all friendly, but he's stabbing you right there." You know what I'm saying? And that's basically what they were doing. They made that video, and they told them on purpose, eat the watermelon as fast as possible, and then they did that, and then they turned around and said, "Look at these greedy, eating motherfuckers, melon eating motherfuckers." Basically, wait. But what it is Esau told them to eat those things as if they were beasts, basically, and then they did it for one camera shot, and they ate the chicken like they was crazy, really fast and really gobbling it up. And the same thing with the watermelon. And then he took that and then he said, look at these beasts. Look at them. I got footage of them. But he told them to act like that. But that's that's what shows you. That shows you that, hey, that shows you that he's your enemy and he's a slanderer. It's actually funny how he took that footage and make it seem as if they're savages, when it comes to watermelon and chicken. Funny devils. It's funny shit. If you see the footage, you're gonna be like, oh, so that's what he did. But if I find it, I find it. And I'm gonna put the link in the description box so you can check it out for yourself. I haven't seen it for a while, by the way, but I do have it on my computer somewhere. I just need to find it. If I find it, I find it. If I don't, hey. Yeah. But anyway, so they covering themselves as if they are the ministers of Yahweh, starting with the churches and stuff like that of Esau, and then of course going to the Jacob descendants that claim Esau could make it, and you can eat whatever you want. You know, you got this guy talking about he's King David, and he's handing out pork and stuff like that. He's eating shrimp, all that there. Funny people. Funny. Anyway, going on. So it says right here, Jeremiah 28, and I'll read 8 again. 28 and 8. The prophets that have been before me and before thee of old prophesied both against many countries and against great kingdoms of war and of evil and of pestilence. And what do they come do at the same time? They come to bring basically, you know, as the book of Ecclesiastes 3 and 8, you know, there's a time of war and there's a time of peace, and there's a time of love and there's a time of hate. Well, the prophets come with that sentence all in one, all four in one. They come in the name of love and peace, love toward the Jacob descendants. That's the love extended, the extended hand of the Heavenly Father. That's the love of the Most High, giving it to the Jacob descendants that want to listen, and also hate to the rest of the Jacob descendants and to the heathens that don't want to. Well, don't matter if they listen or not, but to the Jacob descendants if they don't want to listen, then it's basically hate towards you, because when the Most High sent the sword, well, you can call it love if you want to, you know, tough love, you know. He put you out of your misery, out of your confused state. So he put you out of your misery by a sword of Omen, a sword of Esau. It could be a sword of Omen too. If he sends one of the angels or one of the men of the Lord with spiritual powers, then, you know, then that's your lot. But other than that, hey, you know, and also he comes in the name of peace, and he comes and the prophet comes in peace and war at the same time also. Peace to the Jacob descendants, comfort them with these scriptures, for example, 1 Thessalonians 4 and 18, and then of course the war part, war for the rest of the world, and also war for the rest of the Jacob descendants that don't want to listen. You know, Ezekiel 3 or Ezekiel 31, if I'm correct, where it speaks about that, you know, watchmen, when you see the sword coming, you know, you better tell the rest of them Jacob descendants, like, hey, the sword is coming, meaning that war is coming. And who's going to bring that war or death? The Most High is going to bring it. And he's going to use? The heathen nations. And at certain times, it was, for example, the Philistines and the Arabians. That was in the time of, what's his name again? I think it was, Jehoram, also known as Joram, of King David bloodline. Not the one of Ahab bloodline, but the one of King David bloodline. That one, in the book of, I think 2 Kings 9, if I'm correct. No, it wasn't. You know what? Oh shit. Second Chronicles 21. Second Chronicles 21. I'm gonna read it. Second Chronicles 21 and 16. Moreover, Yahweh stirred up against Joram the spirit of the Philistines and of the Arabians that were near the Cushites. So those that were near the Cushites, those are the ones that the Most High raised up, and they went to go attack the kingdom of Judah because of his wickedness. Remember, he murdered all his brothers. He did that. And then they came, and then they killed all his whole family, except one, which was Jehoahaz. And Jehoahaz, in the same chapter, you could read his name. Jehoahaz. His name was changed in the Second Chronicles 22. His name was changed into Ahaziah. And then Second Chronicles 22, verse 1. His name was changed into Ahaziah. And then verse 6, it was changed into Azariah. Anyway, those, they got their ass snuffed out because of the wickedness of their father, and also because of their own wickedness, because they were wicked too. You know, for example, Jeroboam. Jeroboam had a son. Jeroboam, his whole family got exterminated, but the Most High did that, and why? Because he was wicked. But one of his sons, Most High didn't let him die like a dog, because the Most High said, like, he's the only one that shall be buried, because he had a good toward the Most High. Let me try and get that too. Let me see. Yeah. So 1 Kings 14:13, and all Israel shall mourn of him for him, and bury him, for he only of Jeroboam shall come to the grave, because in him there is found some good thing toward Yahweh, the power of Israel, in the house of Jeroboam. So guess what? The Most High snuffed out all his descendants, and he had like what? No, who was that? 70 kids. I forgot who that was actually. I think it was Ahaziah or something like that, or Ahab. But anyway, I think Ahab had 70 kids. All of them died, by the way. Jehu killed them. Yeah, he killed them. But anyway, before that, all the way back to Jeroboam, I forgot how many children he had, or maybe it doesn't even say it. But he had a lot of sons, and all his sons got basically exterminated, and they got eaten by dogs and then shitted out, because that was the prophecy. And also eaten by birds and shitted out, because you know when they eat you, they're gonna shit you out. So that happened to them. But one of the sons of Jeroboam actually died being buried because he was better. He was good toward Yahweh, but the Most High still took him out by disease, man. The Most High made him sick, and then he died in that same chapter, 1 Kings 14. You know, so that shows you also that, you know, you're gonna have Jacob descendants that the Most High, you know, has sentenced you to death, but he's gonna have somewhat mercy on you to where you're not gonna die violently, man. Torment, torture, you know, being disheveled, all messed up, desiring death, and death shall flee from thee. You know, all that there. The Most High is gonna do that to people that he really don't like. So that's that hate. So again, coming back to Jeremiah 28, or as I was saying about Jeremiah 28, you're gonna have the prophets that come with love and hate at the same time. And you're going to have them come at the same time also, along with the love and hate. They're going to come with the peace and the war. Love and peace toward the Jacob descendants of Yahweh. You know, the Jacob of Jacob, I mean the Israel of Israel. And then hate and war toward the rest of the heathen nations, and of course toward the Jacob descendants. Yeah. You don't have to personally hate them if you don't want to. But the Most High is going to make them know that he's going to send a sword against them. And the only thing that we're supposed to be doing is warning them of it, whether they listen or not. It doesn't matter. As long as I told you about it, you know. I know a few people that listen, and I know a few people that listen afterward, meaning after a year, then they start coming by, and I understand it, because I'm like, yeah, the Most High took his time with you. You know, he didn't make you get it in one day, and then later on. And then later on, you know, they got it and stuff like that, you know? Yes, that's what the Most High does too. That would make you understand the scripture even more when it says, when James and I forgot who wanted to call fire from heaven onto the people that didn't want to have nothing to do with the Lord Yahweh Shai. Because they said, you ain't even coming here, you're going somewhere else, you walk on them. You know, then the Lord said unto those two prophets, apostles, he said, ye know not in what manner of spirit you come. For the Son of Man is come to save, not destroy, something like that. Right. Okay, so going back to Jeremiah 28 and 7. Nevertheless, hear thou now this word that I speak in thine ears. I already read it. 9. The prophets which prophesied of peace when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that Yahweh had truly sent him. Yeah, but ain't no peace coming on. But I just explained to you, for example, look, if you look, the peace that I'm talking about at the same time of the time of war. Look. Let me see, because people might be like, hey, what are you talking about? You come double four tongued. No, I said that love and peace is the prophet is coming with the love and peace, but he's also coming with the war and with peace. Sorry, what am I talking about? Love and hate, war and peace. Yeah, that he's coming with that, but it's only for a selected few. The love counts and the peace counts. For the majority of the Jacob descendants, and also, of course, for the majority of the world, it's going to be none but hatred and the war, because that's what's going to happen. So going on, Jeremiah 28 and 9, the prophet which prophesieth of peace, when the word of the prophet shall come to pass, then shall the prophet be known that Yahweh had truly sent him. Then Hananiah, the prophet, took the yoke from off of the prophet Jeremiah's neck and break it. So Jeremiah had a yoke around his neck and he took it and he broke it, right? That's also a representation of what the Most High is going to do to the whole nation. Well, in the beginning it's going to be the 1/3, because the 2/3 are going to pass away, but they're going to be born again according to the book of Isaiah 60 and many other scriptures, but they're going to be perishing along with Esau for the wickedness of their physical form and their mindset. So physical and spiritual form, because they want to worship Caesar Borgia and they want to be up in this world and do all kind of wickedness and all that there, serve the flesh instead of serving the spirit of Yahweh, the spirit of the Most High, and also the spirit of your own mind, because you know better and still you don't want to do better. But that's a war against the flesh, and once you lose that war, you didn't overcome, and once you have not overcome, you're gonna fall like Adam. You know, because Adam did not overcome and was overcome. He was overcome. He was overtaken. And therefore, we're supposed to be the ones that overcome all the wickedness upon the planet Earth, according to the book of Revelation chapter 2, verse 26 and 27, where it says, and he that overcometh shall unto the end, and keep my words unto the end, him shall I give power over the nations, and he shall rule them with a rod of iron, and break them like a vessel, of a earthen vessel. That's plang-a-lang-a-lang, you know, like glass. And that shows you what type of power we're gonna have over these heathen nations. Not just tell them like, hey, go fix something for me, but actually break them like a potter's vessel, like a glass bottle or something like that. You know, they're gonna be all over the place. You're gonna see here a little bit Ishmael scattered around, and Elam, all that there, and Moab. Don't forget Moab. Don't forget Ammon. Don't forget them. You're gonna have a little sprinkles of Japheth left and right, because they're dastardly too. You know. Verse 11. Oh yeah, I was gathering up a lot of pictures from two sides of Japheth. Right. I'll just throw this in quick. There's two sides to Japheth. You have the one that have the so-called Negroid featurings, you could say. And then you have the ones that show the so-called Asiatic mixed Negro featurings, and then you have the ones that look pure Asiatic, right? You have those three. So yeah, from left to right, it's from all the way from like Hawaii and stuff like that, and French Polynesian, and Solomon's Island, and Fiji, and Papua New Guinea, those places and stuff like that. So you have all those places, all the so-called Negro featuring type of people of Japheth. But once you start going more to the right, you're gonna notice them being like more Asiatic, and in the middle of them is the more Negro featurings and stuff like that. And then you go to the left, which is Indonesia, Philippines, and Myanmar, and Cambodia, and I already think I said Vietnam. Yeah, those places and stuff like that. Then you're gonna have those type of Japhetic people, and people might have a problem with that, because they're thinking like, how can one nation have different faces that don't even look like each other? Have you ever been to South America? That's all I gotta say. No, I'm gonna say more. Because you because you have the ones in North America and then you have the ones in South America. If you go to South America, certain places, look, a lot of them are Edomites, I'll tell you that. But a lot of them are not too. So they look like Edomites, but they're not. If you was to see them on the street, you think, oh, those are Edomites and stuff like that. Those are not Edomites. But then other ones, they are Edomites. You might think because they speak Latin and stuff like that, those are Israelites or something like that. Those are not. Those are Edomites walking as Israelites in the flesh, in the physical form. Well, yeah, because you think they're Latin, so you think they're Israelites. They're not. Argentina is full of Arabs, Armenians from Aram. You have, of course, Spanish, Portuguese. You have Polish. You have a lot of East Europeans. Oh yeah, you have Italians too. In Argentina, like 6 million of them. They basically came from. You have Turkish too, but 6 million of them, somewhat like that, plus minus 6 million plus minus, came from Europe and East Europe, and Arabia too, and they went into Argentina, and then they started, of course, multiplying and breeding, and that was the true original real invasion. And this happened in the, I think, 1800s. I think it was 1800s or the 1600s. They don't talk about that. Do you think that the people over there, the natives and the Afro people that was over there, do you think that they invited them in? That they wanted them to come over there? Well, that's the same thing that's happening to Spain right now. You got the Ishmaelites from Morocco and all these type of places. You got the Hamites too, but you got Israelites in their midst too. You know. Anyway, and they all went into Spain, and then now they got a kind of problem with it and stuff like that. But not a kind of. The reason I said kind of problem is because the government let that shit happen. The government of Morocco and the government of Spain, the guards on both sides, they agreed, because you know people went there and started asking questions. Because Esau can't really stop the internet from sharing certain type of things. That's why in the time of the COVID thing, they made it to where you were only able to send 5 individual people. Because I remember, look, I'm not on Yoke WhatsApp for I'm not on that shit. But I was on it and I saw it that back in the days I could just send to everyone in my list. You know, if you have 100 people in your list, then you send it to 100 people. But later on, they updated it, especially around the so-called COVID time, to where you could only send it to 5 people in your contact list. I was like, hey, oh, they don't want you to spread the information very fast. They want you to do it tediously, like, you know, really 5 here, 5 there. Because if you got 100, then you're gonna have to do it like 20 times. You know, 5 times 3, you're gonna have to do it a lot of times, and that takes a lot of time. And if I'm correct, you are also not able to resend it multiple times. So you could resend it to like 100 people, thousands if you want to, 1,000 times. But now they only allow you to resend it like I don't know sure about that. You know, because I went through something like that, but like I said, I'm not on that shitty ass app, so I never liked that shit in the first place. I don't like staring at my phone, doing bitchy shit. I don't like doing that. I never like doing that, staring at my phone. I don't like that shit. And one of the reasons I don't like it is because when I stare at the phone and I look up, I see woozy. The fuck? The other thing is messing with your eyes, man. That shit ain't right. You know? But anyway, going back to here. So Jeremiah chapter 28, verse 11. And Hananiah spake in the presence of all the people, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, even so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations within the space of 2 full years. And the prophet Jeremiah went his way. So Nebuchadnezzar is also a representation symbolically of Esau, because if you read Jeremiah 34:1, then you will see that Nebuchadnezzar had all the nations underneath him, and he was stomping them out from time to time, slapping them around. He just did what he felt like, because all the nations also came to him, because he was basically how Esau is right now. Every nation on the planet, if you walk around here, you see every nation under the sun or something like that. Mostly you're gonna see caucus flesh, but I mean like all different nations like Aram, but they got caucus flesh too. They're walking around like Edomites. I just saw a few here. I saw Arabs. They all caucus flesh. They all look like Edomites. Well, in the flesh shape, but in the face you would see like, no, this guy is Aram, and that guy, which is from Syria or Assyria, which that's actually Ashur, but still, you got the Moabites, you got Ammon, you got Japheth, you got all these type of people here. You know, that's what I mean with the, you know, all nations are here, but they all have Edomite flesh and stuff like that. They, you know, lepers, but they got lepers here, all of them. So yeah, I just saw a Ammonite female ducking herself from the sun. She got like a hoodie on. She got a hoodie. She made the hole real tight, and she had her hand like this, so that the shade would not would come in her face, so that the sun would not come in her face. Why? Because they want to stay pale all year round, and they can't do that in the summertime. Because in Japan they're walking around with umbrellas, but here it would look stupid, and people would ask them like, "Why are you walking around there?" They probably have to explain too much. But yeah, I just saw him. So like I said, lepers. Anyway, so going on. And yeah. So so yeah, there's different type of Japhetic people, and there's different type of Israelites and all that type of stuff, you know. But like I said, I was gathering pictures this morning, so I'm gonna post it on my profile channel thing. I don't know how you call it. It's, you know, where the posts are of your channel, so that it can spread to people and stuff like that. That one. Anyway, let me go on. So Nebuchadnezzar is a representation of how Esau is right now, you know, how all the nations were with him, and how all the nations came to him for prosperity and money and food, water, and all that type of stuff, because he was the superpower at that time upon the planet Earth, just like how Esau is the superpower in this time upon the planet Earth, because you have a lot of Arabians here, you have a lot of Turkish people here, you have a lot of, like I said, Aram, Syria, of course, and then you have Ashur, Assyrians, they're here too. You have Turkish already. I think I already said that. Let me see what more. Of course, you know, Vietnamese and all that. There, the Indonesia, Javan from Java Islands. You have them here too. India, of course, they're all over the place. Chinese, everybody know that, and Japanese, you know. But yeah, everybody's here. So you know what's not here? The GAD, like the North American natives. I don't see them. When I went to America, I didn't see them there neither. They're like in secluded places or something like that. Yeah, like you need to go to specific places to see them. Meanwhile, you see Elam everywhere where you go, 100%. You see Ishmael everywhere you go, everywhere. Turkish, you see them everywhere. So yeah, the native North Americans and stuff like that, and the Canadian natives, I think they stay in the Western Hemisphere. I think they call it. They stay in America and Canada. They stay there. I don't know. I don't even think that they go to South America, man. I think they stay in North America and they just stay there. I don't know. I never seen one in my life that I know of. I maybe seen them, but I don't know he is it, because a lot of times I just think they South American. They look like people from you know, Venezuela or something like that, or Amapa, or you know, the natives from South America, not specifically Mexicanos, because that's a little bit above, a little bit Middle America. I think they call it Central America, but fuck that. It's Middle America. That's what I said. It's in the middle, so fuck it. Anyway, so it says right here. Yeah, let me read it again. 11. And Hananiah spake in the presence of all the people, saying, Thus saith Yahweh, even so will I break the yoke of Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, from the neck of all nations within the space of 2 full years. And the prophet Jeremiah went his way. But the point is that the Most High is going to break the yoke of the necks of the people that Esau has under his control. How you call that? Japheth is going to break away from Esau. Moab, Ammon, all these nations are going to break away from Esau. And then basically they're going to stand on their own but they most likely are going to join forces with the Russian Edomites. But if you watch some documentaries that I put up on the post, you will see that there's tension going on between China and Russia. They're not that big of a friends as how they seem to be in the eyes of the public. You know, they have little tensions between themselves, and India and China, they damn sure have tensions between themselves because their military were fighting, busting up down with fists and all that there, weapons. A few died and all that there type of stuff. A few of the Moabites died. I think India too, but I'm not sure. But you could look it up. The fight between the military of India and the fight between the military of India and the military of China. They were fighting each other, and a few people died. But they didn't use guns and stuff like that because they knew that if we use guns, then it's going to be a bigger so-called political thing. So let's just fight, and then they fought. But they had weapons and sticks and stuff like that. So that's how they died. You know, so yeah, the Indian army, they killed more Moabites. I think they killed 100 or something. And then the India people, they lost maybe 10 or 20. I don't know. I'm not sure. If you look it up, you will see. I could look it up right now, but yeah. Just type in Google, you will see India, China fight at the border, and how many people died. If you do that, then you will find out. So, and they're also fighting because of a border there with China and India. There's a city there, and then China claims it, but India claims it too. And then now China was like, you know, fuck you. I'm gonna go build houses there, and I'm gonna force people to live there. And they did that. They put people there in order for them to live there, basically. So now basically we claim it. So now if you dare come and remove us from this land, then it's a fight, you know, because we already established people here. And you can see the satellite pictures of the years, how they started to actually form towns there at the border of India and China, you know. But yeah, hey, that's what they want to do. But the Most High has it that they have their little differences between them. But they're going to all collectively get together and fight against Esau of America along with Esau of Europe. They're all going to get together. But for now, you know, they're fighting. Here in Europe, for example, there's 51 countries in Europe, but they some places they say only 45. So no, 44 or 45 or 50. And then some places say 51. But if you count it yourself on the map, it's 51. But they hate one another, so they exclude them. Like, you don't exist to me, you're dead to me, and you're not a part of us. I'm not talking about the EU, I'm talking about Europe itself, so the continent. EU is a group within that continent. And I think it's like 44 countries or something like that are part of the EU. I talk about it often, but I forget it. Anyway, let me go on then. Now, the Mosai is going to make it to where their yoke is going to break. Because the power that Esau, for example, I'm going to show you a power that Esau has over Ammon. Now, in their declaration that Esau gave to them, that's fucked up. Your constitution, I think I think I said the wrong word, but the Japanese constitutions forbid them from having a military. And who did that? Esau did that. He told them, like, listen, you can't have a military because you can Google it if you want to for yourself. Because if I do it, I'm going to be all over the place. I'm going to lose my train of thought, I think. But anyway, you can Google it for yourself. You can type in, does the Japanese constitution forbid them from having a military, and did America do that? Yes, America did that. They came up in their place, took everything down, put that yoke up on their neck, and then forced them to sign their constitution. I think it's their declaration or something like that. I don't know. I don't know what you call it, but it's their constitution. You look it up if you have the time. You look it up for yourself if you have the time. But that's a form of having the power over Ammon, for example. But fuck Ammon, you know, because they hate Jake too, you know. But it's all good. But still, I'm using them as an example of that they have that yoke upon them, and according to the scripture, the Most High is going to break that yoke from off of them, so that this modern day time Nebuchadnezzar that ruled over all the nations, he's not going to have rulership or sayingship over them anymore. Anyway, so going on. So now for for the first 6, so Jeremiah 28 and 6, I have a precept upon that concerning the vessels of the Most High. Look, I said the vessels already mean, the physical vessels, the cups of gold and all these type of things, which belong to the house of Yahweh, where they had to do, the ritual, the ceremonies within, the showbread, the table of gold, and the censers and all that there, where they had to make the smoke for the temple. Anyway, but the people are the gold and silver also, the Jacob descendants. So Zechariah 13 and 8, and it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith Yahweh, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and died, but the 3rd part shall be left therein. And I will bring the 3rd part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them, and I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, Yahweh is my power. So the Most High compares them to gold and silver. You got the golden Israelites, and you got the silver Israelites. You might be like, which one is better? I don't even want to talk about that. It's self-explanatory, but I don't want to talk about that because it's of no use, because both of them are beautiful. Silver is beautiful in its own way. Gold is beautiful in its own way. But if you think about it in the physical form, what is gold for? It's useless. What are you going to do with it? The only reason that gold and paper money has any value is because people put value toward it. That's about the only reason, because if you have a lot of gold, let's say you got like you got, well, I don't know, 1 million. I'm just giving an example. 1 million in paper money, or gold if you want to, or silver, whatever, right? Or whatever a commodity you have, whatever. Okay, cool. And I have cattle, I got sheep. You know where it's going to, right? I got cattle, cow, sheep, and I got birds, fowls, and stuff like birds, chicken, and all lawful. Not no goddamn eagle meat or something like that, or some kind of hawk meat or owl or possum. Not talking about that. And I got like land, and I got vegetables and fruit and all that there type of stuff, and I got housing and stuff like that, right? I got more than you actually. I might not have that so-called million, but I have land to wherewith eventually your million is going to be my million. Why? Because I'm going to sell the food to you. I got fish, I got all that type of stuff. I got real substance, real worth. And then, you can so-called give me your so-called money, which is, it's still worthless, but it's only worth because you think about it. It's worth because of, look, if you go back to before the, how you call that thing? Before the fiat currency, the Fed money, before you go back to, Esau and all of that, before you go back before that, right? There was no money. There was barter, meaning if you have sheep's wool clothing to keep you warm in the wintertime and all that there type of stuff, if you got wood to make houses and all that there, if you got iron to, of course, fix your house up, make it more stable, or fix buildings up, or make weapons and all that there type of stuff. If you got all that, then it's worth a lot of things, and therefore you started to exchange with one another for certain things, and then eventually the money became, the paper money, that became so the standard that was worth the thing that you're buying, you're bartering for, you're exchanging for. So for 100 chickens or something like that, then you would pay this amount of gold or this amount of so-called paper money and all that there type of stuff. But if you think about it, all these things, they're actually worthless, because you can't do anything with the so-called money unless people believe in the worth of that money. And then with that, you could buy a sandwich in the store. If you think about it, this whole This whole concept of gold, silver, money, exchange coins, it's worthless. It is vain as shit. It has no meaning. So when you see people selling their soul for money, you should laugh extra hard because that thing is worthless. It's only worth here. The only real worth is Yahweh wa Yahweh Shai, and then the things upon the planet Earth that have substance, like food, health, of course, too. But yeah, food and water. That's about it. That's the only thing that has any real life values. Like, for example, you don't need a Ferrari car. You need a car. Well, not need it, but if you want to transport yourself, a car will do. A normal car that works. You would need that. You would need you don't need a mansion. You need a house. You don't need let me see what. You don't need $1 million. You just need something in order for you to be able to sustain yourself with all these things, like food. Which the money still is shit, but yeah, it's all garbage, man. And once you start realizing that, then you start looking at the world totally different. Like, why are they greedy for money? Why are they always trying to get money? Because it's worthless. It doesn't mean anything. If everybody collectively decided to do away with the euro, then all the money you have in the bank is nothing. Then you become just a regular ass citizen again, which is what you are. But in the eyes of the people that worship money, you are great. Whatever. Anyway, going on. So the Jacob descendants are the gold and the silver of Yahweh. We are the reason that you live. You know, because the earth was created. The earth was created for the Jacob descendants' sake. So if we wasn't here, you wouldn't be here. So you should thank me every day. Now I'm just trying to be funny. I'm talking to the heathen nations because I know they're watching. Fuck them. But they're not. So not the ones that are Israelites but look like heathens. That's something else. But yeah, that's something else. Like I said, for example, you got a Jacob descendant that look like a Jake, right? Cool cat. But he ain't down with the Most High. Then you got a heathen nation that look like a heathen nation, but he's an Israelite, and he's also not down with the Most High. Fuck them both. I ain't gonna say like, oh, but he a Jake though. That's spit in your mouth when you say that shit to me. No, don't do it like that. You need to do it. Well, you can do whatever you want to. I do it like this. I see a Jacob descendant that is looking like a Jake and all that there, but he is with Yahweh Bashem Yahshua. He cool cat. Or I see a heathen nation looking Jacob descendant, but I know of him, you know, his father, whatever, his great grandfather, whatever, and I know he's a Jacob descendant, and he also loves Yahweh Bashem Yahshua, and he turns into Yahweh Bashem Yahshua, and he good too, you know. That should show you what I'm doing is just because you're a Jake doesn't mean shit to me. It might mean something to someone else, but it don't mean nothing to me. I already don't look at people that have, you know, the tree converted into paper with ink on it, with faces of people that hate your guts, which they call money. I already don't look at these people like they are something. Because like I said, you got a fucking tree in your pocket, like a tree, a converted tree, converted into paper. Even if you have gold in your pocket, I don't look at you like you're something, because your gold is worthless to me. It just looks pretty. You can wear it and stuff like that. Other than that, what are you gonna do with it? You can't do nothing with it, boy. You can only use it for money when the people, their mind is in that state. When Esau went to the natives in South America, sorry, what did he do? He saw them playing with gold. It had no value for them. Now, for the Spaniards and the Portuguese that did come, murder. Because they saw something like, you know, the cartoons where you have the dollar signs popping out their eyes, like Yosemite Sam. Oh! Then you start shooting all over the place, shooting at people, trying to get them away from the gold area. You know, that's because they love it. They see a worth in it that other people just don't see. And yeah, Once you're in that mindset, then you will look at people that chase money as, I don't know, like they're like unintelligent people. You know, they might be very intelligent trying to get their money and they get it, but in real fact, like spiritual, I don't know, even physical, they're dumb, very dumb. Like it's worthless. It's literally worthless. The only thing that's worth is Yahweh. But I'll keep on dragging on the same thing. Let me go on. Now this is the book of I'll go to Wisdom of Solomon, just to prove to you that we are the gold also.